Delta from YGO Anime Games. I'm sure many of you already know this, but if you don't, we built Rebecca's Grand Championship deck and debuted it in our character deck tournament. So now, we're just going to do a deck profile like we do with all our new decks, to show you what's in her deck. There's a couple more from the tournament, like Aster, we updated his deck. Maya, we changed her deck to being more Battle City. Now, speaking of Grand Championship, right before I start the deck profile, yes, we don't have Yugi, Kaiba, any of the other characters from Grand Championship's decks. We only have Rebecca's right now. We obviously plan to make the Grand Championship decks at some point way down the road. We have a whole bunch of decks that we're going to be coming out with soon, like Duel's Kingdom decks in January, etc., etc. That was all talked about in our Deck Expo video. You should check that out. So, do we plan to make the other Grand Championship decks? Yes, of course. In the immediate future, no. We wanted to do Rebecca's deck just because she's a popular character, unlike, Duplicate, like Yugi deck or whatever. Rebecca's a character we don't have right now. So this is why we made her deck, and she's a really cool character. I like her personally a lot. I like her deck. It's a strong deck, actually. She's very strategic. So yeah, to start the actual deck profile, we have 3 Luster Dragon. Rebecca's deck was basically a burn lockdown strategy with Marie the Fallen One, Fire Princess, Gravity Bind, some other life point gain cards, and it was also dragon themed with Luster Dragon. She had Ruby Dragon and Diamond Head Dragon, other cards that sadly we don't have yet. Konami, please print them. But we do at least have the Luster Dragons. So 3 of Luster Dragon, 2 Luster Dragon number 2, a nice beefy 2400 attack. 1900 attack and 2400 attack, they're definitely pretty respectable. And Rebecca's deck can definitely, just lay a real smackdown with some strong dragons. And she's a couple good support cards for dragons. So that is it though in the way of dragons. So 3 Fire Princess. This was sort of the linchpin of her burn lockdown strategy. It's sort of similar to what we saw from Lecter with life point gain, but she has a fully fleshed out strategy. She has Imperial Order too, but she has Gravity Bind, and she has Marine, she has Token Things, giving you life points along with Fire Princess. Sometimes if you're beating your opponent with a Luster Dragon the whole game, just beating in their face, maybe they eventually stop your onslaught, but you get them down pretty low life points, and almost any Fire Princess you draw could mean game. So it's definitely strong. I would definitely say Rebecca's got a strong deck. She has a lot of solid strategy. And then a couple powerful monsters. 2 Guardian Angel Joan. So this can also give you life points. I wouldn't expect to consistently combo it with Fire Princess, but it does give you life points. A 2800 attack monster. So this definitely gives her deck a nice little oomph. Sort of like Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, Guilford, Red Eyes. It's like a 2 tribute, big beater. Really cool card too. So yeah, not much more to say about that. We saw quite a lot from Rebecca. She had multiple duels in Grand Championship, so we got to see a lot of her cards. We didn't really need to triplicate that much in her deck. Luster Dragon and Fire Princess are some of the only cards that are tripled. Stuff like Joan, the other Luster Dragon, aren't. Injection Fairy Lily isn't. So yeah, most of her cards we just need to double or even have only 1 copy of. 2 Injection Fairy Lily. We didn't want 3 because it's such a powerful monster. I mean, a level 3 that can boost itself up to 3000 plus attack, and with her deck you can attack under Gravity Bind. Is just nuts. This card's a fan favorite of a lot of people's too. But yeah, it's really strong. You get extra life points, so you can definitely use its effect pretty well. A feel of just that and Luster Dragon can be really, really powerful. 3 Marie the Fallen One. One of her main life point gain cards. 200 every turn. If you can keep Fire Princess alive, maybe with Gravity Bind, you will be burning your opponent for quite a lot. 500 every turn. And then if you're gaining 200 too, the life point disparity just becomes huge. She does have other ways to gain life points, but Marie the Fallen One is one of the more consistent ones. 1700 attack isn't that bad if you have to summon it. Not optimal, but it's definitely doable. And then 2 Witches of the Black Forest, which, as if her deck full of strong beaters and the coherent strategy needed anything else, it's a card that can search whatever monster you need. You know, this and Sangan are just hugely important. If you're missing a combo piece, you can search it. You know, if you have Fire Princess but you don't have Marie, grab Marie. If you have Marie but you don't have Fire Princess, grab Fire Princess. It can't search Luster Dragon. It can search Luster Dragon number 2. It can search Injection Fairy Lily. So it's really strong in her deck. Obviously, we don't want to put 3 of it just because she doesn't need to have 3 cards that can search a lot. It's very powerful. And then you can search Witch with Witch if you want to. Moving on to the spells. She has 2 Dragon's Gunfire. So even this can do some direct damage. So it's, you know, not the easiest. You have to have a dragon. But still, you get your opponent down pretty low life. You can just your next card to be Dragon's Gunfire and it can end the duel. It can definitely steal you the game. You can destroy a monster. That's its second effect. It's versatile in giving you 2 effects. But we don't see that second effect happen that much. Most monsters have more than 800 defense. 1 Graceful Charity. Not much to say. In this deck, it actually lets you put Marie the Fallen Ones in the grave. So it's not, you know, in some decks it's just good to draw. In this, you have at least cards that you want to put in the graveyard. Similar to Aster's deck with Graceful Charity. You can put like a discount in the graveyard. With Rebecca's deck, you put Marie the Fallen One in the graveyard. Pot of Greed. What needs to be said? I mean, she does have both draw cards, which is good. Not all decks always have both. Alright, 3 Scapegoat. So this is a card first we saw used by Joey. It was used by other people too, like Rebecca, Alexis. It's a really good card. We normally wouldn't always include 3 of it. But it's not like something like Injection Fairy Lily, which is like super strong, super aggressive. So we definitely didn't want to necessarily have like 3 of that. But Scapegoat Storage is a little more passive card, and in fact, it can be hard to even activate Scapegoat sometimes. If you have, you know, you manage to put a couple monsters on your field, like if you felt you really had something like a Luster Dragon and really summon a Fire Princess, now you can't activate Scapegoat. So it's not like it's like a super powerful card, and having 3 is nuts. But it's definitely powerful. It's a good defensive option to have. 2 Silent Doom. Your targets are limited in the deck, but bringing back anything can be good. You can bring back a monster to tribute. So bring back 1 Luster Dragon tribute for Luster Dragon number 2 or something, or bring back a second tribute for Marie. It definitely has its uses. She's another revival card as well, so she's definitely got her bases covered. She has spell and trap removal. She has life point heal. She has direct damage. She has revival. She has draw power. It really is a solid deck. There's that spell and trap removal I was talking about. 2 Stamping Destruction. So this is also actually burn damage too. So if you have a dragon, you can destroy a spell and trap card and then do 500 damage to your opponent. So it's always good for characters that have spell and trap removal. It's an out to stuff like DNA Surgery, Insect Barrier combo, to stuff like Clock Tower Prison, Tornado Wall, whatever, you know, what have you. You do need a dragon to activate it, so, you know, sometimes Rebecca will get dead hands. You know, it's like if you draw a bunch of dragon support and no dragons, or you draw stuff like, if you open up with like Shallow Grave, Silent Doom, Dragon's Gunfire, 2 Stamping Destructions, and a Scapegoat, like, you're not really doing much to that hand. So those hands do happen, but for the most part, she's got a pretty consistent deck. 2 The Shallow Grave. So if you notice, this does have a white sticker. If you're not on board yet, maybe it's your first time on the channel, we use a white sticker to denote a card that we play with this errata effect. So Shallow Grave, we do have errata to the anime effect, so the monster special summon in face-up defense position instead. And you can activate it even if your opponent doesn't have a monster. If you want to see all erratas, you want to see the errata typed out, we have an errata document in the description. We also have a decklist document. So you can just see Rebecca's decklist typed up in the decklist document in the description. But yeah, Shallow Grave is pretty good. You can grab back, you know, I mean, sometimes you can go from no monsters on the field to Shallow Grave, Silent Doom, tribute for Guardian Angel Joan, and then you just come out swinging. 2 Token Thanksgiving. So this is another way to gain life points. You just need to destroy all tokens. And in fact, this does destroy your opponent's tokens as well. So if you're playing a deck like Joey and they summon Scapegoat, this actually works as a removal for those tokens. Will that come up often? No. Is that a good interaction? Yes. It's good to have the option at least, even if you will mostly use it on your own tokens just to heal yourself. And 800 per token is not bad at all. Her last spell is Tribute to the Doomed. So she has recursion, she has draw power, she has spell and trap removal, she has life point heal and direct damage, and she has monster removal. Very versatile. Tribute to the Doomed, I mean, Keith uses a great effect. It's just a very strong card to have. This is another way to put Marie the Fallen One in grave. So if you don't put Marie on the field, you really need Tribute to the Doomed, or Grace will try to put her in grave. First up for the traps, Dragon's Rage. You can steal games with Dragon's Rage, possibly. Piercing damage is really good sometimes. On the other hand, you only have 5 dragons, so if you don't get one of those, it just sits there as a dead card. It's one of those cards that could be dead, could be very good, depends on the situation. But she has 2 of those. 1 Gravity Bind. So, I mean, maybe you're asking, hey, why only 1 Gravity Bind if it's an important part of her strategy? For sort of the same reasons that we wouldn't necessarily just throw like 2 Harpy's Feather Duster or 2 Monster Born into a deck, or like 2 Carved Sanctity. We try to watch it with powerful cards, and Gravity Bind is a very powerful card. It can completely shut down a lot of decks if they don't have spell and trap removal, or maybe their only spell and trap removal is remove trap. With the fact that she can do burn damage, it is incredibly powerful. And yes, that was her strategy. We definitely want to build the deck faithful strategy, which is why we gave her 3 Fire Princess, 3 Marie, etc., etc. Because it can just sometimes automatically win you the game. We felt it was fair to have it at 1. Imperial Order, again, very powerful card. We only gave Lecter 2, so we only gave Rebecca 1. It seems fair to us. Again, it's an incredibly powerful card. We're not trying to hamper her deck. It's a good deck, for sure. We just don't want to make, include duplicates of cards that make a deck particularly overpowered. But this is pretty good for a strategy. You have life points to spare quite often, and you can just completely shut down your opponent's effects. Now, her last card is 2 Rope of Life, which is more recursion, actually. Not as easy to use as Silent Doom or the Shallow Grave, but it does bring your monster back at the cost of discarding your hand. But that's the 3rd way to put Marie the Fallen in the graveyard. However, primarily, it's going to just be used to bring out a Buffy monster. And if your Guardian Angel Joan is destroyed somehow, maybe like in battle with Blue Eyes or something, pull it back at 3,600 attack points. And yeah, that is the last card in Rebecca's deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We like Rebecca's deck. We were really happy to make it and debuted in the tournament. It's an exciting deck, and considering that it's a Grand Championship deck, it's very fitting to debut it in the anime tournament. So thank you guys so much. Always look for more cool content to come, because we never stop. YGO Anime Games out.